Long ago, in a vast and lively jungle, there lived a small, curious animal named Ellie. Ellie was no ordinary creature. She was an elephant, but unlike the mighty elephants we see today, she had very tiny ears. They were so small that they barely fluttered in the wind. The other animals in the jungle used to tease her, and it made Ellie feel sad. "Why do you have such tiny ears?" asked the mischievous monkeys swinging from tree to tree. "They look like they were never meant to grow big," snickered the parrots, perched on the branches. Poor Ellie would often sit alone, feeling embarrassed by her tiny ears. She wished she could hear the wind's whispers like the birds did, or cool herself with the breeze like the giraffes. One day, Ellie decided to seek the wise old tortoise, Temba, who lived near the great river. Temba was known throughout the jungle for his wisdom, and many animals came to him when they had problems. Ellie approached the tortoise slowly, her little ears drooping down. "Good morning, Temba," Ellie greeted, her voice soft and unsure. "Ah, Ellie, my dear," Temba said with a slow, wise smile. "What brings you to me today?" "I'm troubled, Temba," Ellie explained. "All the other animals laugh at my ears. They're so small and I feel different. Why can't I have big ears like the other elephants?" Temba pondered for a moment and then said, "Ellie, my child, you have come to me at just the right time. But before I give you an answer, I want you to go on a journey. You must visit the great mountain of the wind and ask the wind why it makes the jungle so alive. You must listen carefully to what it says." Ellie's eyes widened. She had heard of the mountain of the wind before, but never thought she'd ever go there. But if it could help her understand her tiny ears, Ellie was ready. With a heart full of determination, Ellie set off on her journey. The jungle was alive with the sounds of birds, insects, and the rustling of leaves. As Ellie walked, she met several animals along the way, and they all had their own advice. "The wind is everywhere," the monkeys chattered as they played. "It doesn't need big ears to be heard." "Maybe you need to listen with your heart, not your ears," suggested a wise old owl from a tall tree. Despite their advice, Ellie knew she had to reach the mountain of the wind. After many days of walking, Ellie finally reached the foot of the mountain. It was taller than anything she had ever seen, and the wind howled fiercely at its peak. At the top, Ellie found a small cave where the wind seemed to swirl around her. There, an ancient creature, a wind spirit, appeared. It was a swirling mass of light and air, shimmering and powerful. "Why do you come, little elephant?" the wind spirit asked, its voice like 1,000 breezes. "I want to know why I don't have big ears," Ellie said, trembling. "All the other elephants have big ears that help them hear the wind and cool themselves, but I don't have big ears, and the other animals laugh at me." The wind spirit laughed gently, a sound like a soft breeze rustling through the leaves. "Ah, Ellie, my dear," the spirit said, "you do not need big ears to hear the wind. You already listen to the world around you with your heart, your spirit, and your strength. You do not need to be like everyone else. What you need, Ellie, is to understand your true power." The wind spirit raised its hands, and the wind began to swirl around Ellie. Slowly, Ellie felt something amazing happen. Her tiny ears began to grow, stretching wider and wider. She could feel the air rush past her new ears, and they caught every whisper of the wind. It wasn't just the wind she could hear now, she could hear the jungle itself, the heartbeat of every living creature around her. "You see," the wind spirit said, "your ears are not meant to be like those of others. You will hear the world in your own way, and your ears will grow with wisdom, just as your heart has. The strength of the wind lives within you now." Ellie, overwhelmed by the spirit's words and the power of her new ears, felt a wave of peace. She no longer felt ashamed of her smallness. Her ears were hers alone, unique and strong in their own way. When Ellie returned to the jungle, the animals were amazed at her transformation. Her ears were now large, graceful, and powerful, just like the other elephants. But unlike them, Ellie's ears were shaped differently, wide and elegant, like sails catching the wind. The monkeys stopped their teasing, and even the parrots quieted down.
Ellie had become a symbol of strength, not because of the size of her ears, but because of her journey and her understanding of her true self. From that day on, Ellie no longer worried about how she looked. She knew that everyone had their own special gifts, and hers was the ability to hear and feel the wind in a way no one else could. The animals of the jungle no longer teased Ellie, but instead they came to her for wisdom. She had learned from the wind that it's not the size of one's ears that makes them strong, but the strength of the heart and the willingness to be oneself. And so, Ellie lived on as the most wise and beloved elephant in the jungle, her ears a reminder of the journey that had changed her forever. Moral of the story: true strength comes from within, and our differences are what make us special. **.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And for more fun stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you next time.